This is the last day of the Global Speaker Summit in Vancouver, and I'm going to see if I can go backstage and see how it's run. Gary Rifkin is back there, and he typically runs a lot of the conferences from the backstage, and we can see what he sees. I'm backstage at the Global Speakers Summit, and I found Gary Rifkin, who's the backstage manager. We're going to ask him how it goes back here. But first, Gary, so how did you get involved with this?
Well, I've on and off for the last 10 years, I've been doing a role like this at the National Speakers Association conventions. So sometimes as a helper, and then over the last 4 or 5 years as the backstage manager.
And they said, we need this guy. So when I'm asked to be a speaker next year, you know, the general keynote, what's going to happen? So let's look at a panel. Okay, so walk us through.
So picture this being both backstage and green room.
Okay.
So we want to walk over here. You would come. Yeah. Okay. So you'd come in through a back door, which is back here, and then you'll notice we've even got it marked on the floor that it's the stage area. And then if we come over right behind me, oh, this is fun. I'm like Jackie Kennedy. We've got an area here for people to prep. And also, we've always got a script here so we know exactly what's going on when. And then just behind us is the actual entrance area to the stage. And so when the folks come in, we get them mic'd, either get their lapel mic on them. So it depends. Every convention's a little different. At this conference, some of them are actually going all the way to the back of the room to get their mics. But typically, we've got them up here, and they tell us on the headset, all right, get handheld number 1 for Jana. And then I hand Jana her mic right before she goes out.
So I see all these computers.
So in this area back here is the kind of the ground control, if you will. So they've got the video of what's going on stage. They've more importantly got all the PowerPoints. Now, Dr. John DeMartini isn't using PowerPoint right now. So some of the work over here isn't as critical. But when there's a lot of PowerPoint going on, they're actually running the slides from back here. In most conferences, most big conferences, when you're holding your clicker, you're not actually advancing. You're putting a light onto the back, and the guy in the back is advancing.
It's like lip syncing kind of. It's Milli Vanilli a little bit.
It is. It's a Milli Vanilli version of an advancer. And they do that because if there's a problem and you've got the only remote, we're in trouble. But if what you're doing is really just clicking to let them know to advance, and they do it quickly, then if there's an issue, they can back up or forward for you. So it's a lot. That's very powerful. So what you can't see back here is that if you look over here, this guy here has the clock. That shows us back here what the countdown is, how much time is left.
That's onlinetimer.com.
Exactly. Well, that exact same time is showing to the speaker on the ground.
Okay. So what do they see? They see the timer, and what else do they see?
They see their slides.
Okay.
So in the monitor, they've got a monitor of their slides, and they've got a monitor of their countdown time. Now, it can be done, like we've had some speakers. Jeannie Robertson doesn't like countdown. She likes to count up. So when we've worked with Jeannie, she says, turn mine to 0 and let me go up instead of counting down from the end. And we can do that. Countdown typically is better. But, hey, every speaker likes it their way, and as long as they get done on time, we're thrilled.
Yeah. So how could we be the best speaker for you to work with?
Yeah, so number 1, whatever the meeting planner suggests that you do in advance, do in advance. Because we've had speakers show up, big-time speakers show up with, I have to make a couple changes to my PowerPoint right before they're going out. Yeah. And it's embarrassing, but they don't realize how embarrassing it is because we're racing around to try to address things, literally at times vamping on the stage because we can't send the guy out because PowerPoint's not ready. So there's little things that people can do. When the meeting planner sends a list of, here's everything I need, get it in. Biggest issue is when people don't do some of the things they need to do when they show up at rehearsal and they go, I thought I'd have about 30 minutes on the stage. No, you've got 5. Because there's 12 other people that we have to get through this whole process. And they at times become divas. Well, I need my 30 minutes. Yeah, okay. And your needing your 30 minutes doesn't get us done on time. So, interesting. We all care so much about what we're doing. But I think sometimes we forget that we're in an ecosystem where everybody else is impacted by our actions. So that's a critical piece.
So it's listen to your meeting planner. And Gary Rifkin, so what is your website? And just real quick, what do you do?
My website is GaryRifkin.com, and I help brilliant people shine. So I typically work with people who are brilliant, but aren't brilliant in front of an audience. And I help them with their speaking, with the crafting of their message, and most importantly, with understanding what that experience out there is like. So this is actually, working Backstage has actually helped me be better at my speech coaching. I also work with a company called Core Clarity, and we help people understand their talents. And so I not only help brilliant people shine, but I teach them how they're brilliant by understanding what their talents are using the Clifton Strengths Finder assessment. So, and that's coreclarity.net.
Thank you, Gary Rifkin, Backstage at the Global Speaker Summit.